We will begin our discussion by discussing cloud computing. When we talk about computing services, what exactly are we referring to? After that, we will take a look at a few of Azure's offerings and make some comparisons. Here are a few real-world examples to get you thinking about which compute choice could be right for your solution as you examine creating or migrating it in Azure. To talk about compute in Azure or the cloud, we are referring to CPU and memory that you'll be using to run your application code, whether that's in the form of a virtual machine where you're specifying the CPU and memory, or you're choosing a particular scale size or service, such as an app service, which might host your web application. However, running your application code is the most important part. There are a slew of possibilities available in Azure. There are also a couple buckets at the top level. You can get started with virtual machines, which many people have used in their own data centers and are familiar with. To run your apps, you can create them with a wide range of parameters. Web apps and APIs can be hosted and run under a platform as a service architecture using Azure App Services. Containers, a popular application packaging method, and a set of tools for running those programs are supported. In addition, there is serverless computing, which is the concept of running application code without having to worry about instances, virtual machines, or any of that infrastructure. Of course, when you think of virtual machines on Azure, you'll recognize a few things. Linux and Windows virtual machines can be created. There are specifics like as how many hard drives are required, which are specified in Azure. Is it better to use solid-state drives or traditional hard drives? In terms of performance, what IOPS or speed are you expecting from that particular VM? How many cores in your CPU and how much memory do you require will determine the size or scale of it. If you don't want to provision a bare-bones Windows or Linux VM, there are numerous virtual machine images accessible in Azure. A ready-to-go machine can be provisioned for you, and it may already have the programs you'll need. Taking use of the cloud's scalability and flexibility is one of our primary goals. Scale sets, for example, are another collection of attributes that you can use. You can use this information to locate a VM image. Azure can then automatically adjust the number of virtual machine instances based on that image as your virtual machine load increases. It goes both ways up and down so that you don't pay for virtual computers that you aren't utilizing if you're not working. Availability sets are also available in the cloud. With all of these resources at our disposal, we can select different virtual machines, place them in these availability sets, and Azure will take care of managing your system's availability. The provisioning of your virtual machine and its disks was previously mentioned. Rather than you having to worry about managing the storage and backend management of these virtual disks, you can rely on Microsoft to do it for you with its Managed Disks feature, which maintains your virtual disks all connected and operating together. Additionally, there are backup and networking services that can be used to keep track of and link all of the virtual machines you create. There are many well-known aspects of virtual machines, but there are also a number of unique cloud features that can be utilized. You can use Azure App Service to host your web applications. If you're using PHP, Node.js, Java, or ASP.NET, you can run your web applications in the Azure App Service. You have a wide range of deployment choices available to you. Deployment can be done using Azure DevOps or FTP if you like, or you can integrate with Git repositories. With the app services, Azure will automatically handle scaling your web application up or down for you based on your web application's code and its scalability characteristics. So you have got enough instances to handle your traffic. There is also the idea of applying healing to the problem. It's an advantage of a platform as a service to have this kind of flexibility. If one of your nodes falls down, Azure can take your application code, deploy it on a new node, and put that up in its stead so that you don't experience downtime and your nodes are immediately healed. The app service has a plethora of different options. When you're transitioning from a staging environment to a production environment, one of the most helpful concepts is the idea of deployment slots, which allow you to simply deploy, warm up your staging code, test it out, and then move it into production. All of the networking and storage features of virtual machines can be used to enhance your application code's performance.